Hello and welcome. Today is the 15th day of January 2017. Welcome to the Silver Charts channel. My name is Derek, and in this video, I'll look at the daily, weekly charts. I'm going to go over those quickly because I'm also going to go over a decade lead chart or look at every decade spanning back since 1800. And I found an interesting blog post from almost 13 years ago. And I'm going to present that and link it as well. So going over this relatively quickly, it's been a couple weeks now of grinding higher, using support within the 18 average of highs, but not having any large explosive gains as well. Yet to get past its previous lower high of a little over 17 per ounce. This high is barely over 17, so we'll call it 17 flat. It's been in a nice bull market for even longer, going back to the right around Christmas time, but it still hasn't gotten really any bullish conviction. It's attempting the bullishness, and if this thing can get going and just towards this high, then it's going to show better attempts at such, but it's got to at least hold and break, I think, above this most previous high. If you see action that moves into this 18 average and towards the 18 average of lows even, then it's definitely a lot of big reason to be concerned, because when something looks as strong as this and it ultimately fails, which means you're seeing it towards this area here, then when you look at this on the weekly time frame, you'd be looking at least to move towards this level here. And within this 18 average, we can see, since this decline and changeover into the market, that it resisted the band in here, and then big decline and a decent sized move from the previous low down to here. And then it resists the 18 average of lows again. Decent sized move, but not really, but it did make a lower low, and now again to this 18 average of lows again. And when I look at this from this perspective, I ask myself, if next week has a follow where we have another similar looking green candle, which would be somewhere within the 18 average band, the entirety of it, which would start to show neutrality, that wouldn't surprise me. But it also wouldn't surprise me to see a reversal where I have a red candle back down close to last week's open, nor would it surprise me to see any type of sideways movement either. So very difficult at this stage to get really much conviction of the market. This I'm putting up is the decade lead chart, I guess, to say the least. Going back first 6 decades when silver was actually money, $1.29, that meant once you came up with an ounce of silver in your money, it worked out to $1.29. Of course, it was not exact because of the mathematical decimal places, but when I look at this chart as it stands, you can see the significant gain from the 1860s all the way to the 1930s. Significant and such that this entire 4-decade move up, 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, within an inflationary market is almost the getting it back, if you will. You have this down move. Okay, so it breaks past this resistance. It's been over 100 years. It's obviously got to have a significant break above it, and it did. So the correctionary move, you would have thought back in here after 1979, I might have said something like, okay, it's up a little too fast. I'd probably look for a correction back to about 12 or 13 bucks. Then maybe in the 90s, we can retest the 50 high. I predict the internet will come out in the 2000s really big and it'll break that 50, maybe test 100 or 200. No, instead it's been sideways for these decades. So when I look at this way, okay, silver is dirt cheap. That's how I look at it, especially within that perspective there. Now, an article I want to go over, Price of Silver, the physics fact book, edited by Glenn Ehlert, I think. However, written by a student, an educational fair use website. I haven't clicked any of these links, but they will be available for you to read in the information box. And this is like 13 years old. Every cloud has a silver lining, but just how much does all that silver cost? Studies show that in the past few hundred years, the price of silver has been declining significantly. Silver is a whitish, metallic, solid chemical element and has been used since ancient times, dating back as far as 4000 BC as forms of money, jewelry, silverware, etc. Amounts of silver are measured in troy ounces, and I'm going to just go further. It's still explaining, of course, how silver is made from a 2004 perspective. Talking about the prices of silver and the decline. Now, it says here that in 1792, the price of silver was 45 cents per gram, which was probably 4.5 cents a gram, because that's quite expensive considering it's lower than that right now. And it rose to 10 cents a gram in 1864. So therefore, it's been in this decline, as this article states. I just think that's one error that I see within it. The price of silver decreased in the years to follow. However, prices rose again in the early 1900s into 1979, when silver was at its highest price at around 77 cents per gram. Since then, the prices have been decreasing in general. Once again, this is a result from a less demand in silver as production for silver grew over the years. In 1999, the price of silver was $5.21, and this is a chart that was shown. And notice what was stated. It's so demand. This is a result from less demand. I didn't know about silver as any type of investment tool at this point in 1999. And I was in my early 20s then. So old enough to know about investments. And most people didn't know about it. So a lot of the misinformation is just not even explaining it. When you go to your bank and talk about investment strategies, it's not even considered. But let's just read the last part of it. Today, silver is cheap and costs around 18 cents per gram, $5 per ounce. It is quite surprising to see that in present-day America, a society in which everything seems to be inflating, the price of a mineral such as silver is actually decreasing in value and price. However, if the production in silver should suddenly decrease, the price of silver could jump to over $17 per gram, not per ounce, per gram, or $500 per ounce. Mr. Tang, 2004. If the production of silver should suddenly decrease. Now, that hasn't really happened. It's actually increased. However, the net usage of silver has increased because demand has risen substantially. That pretty much has been the case. This is a very good article, so I'm going to link it in the more information box, and thank you for tuning in. Bye-bye.